tonight, 125-104. This Milwaukee Bucks basketball team has not had back-to-back wins since October. That continues tonight. Come on in the room. No doctors, no none of that. 125-104 is the final. We are live. It's the Cream City crossover guru trailer.
Chris King.
Yeah. Just me and Chris King in the building tonight. Justin's off. JT is off. So we are here with you tonight. Join us on the YouTube. Get at us in the chat. Get at us on the Twitter at onyourTSQs973. We'll talk to you. 125-104 is the final tonight. It's rough. Tasman201 says refs in the chat. We'll talk about it. I don't know that the refs. The refs been bad but this wasn't like the refs. They weren't the reason the Bucks lost tonight. We'll get into all that as you guys come on in. Let me see. 125-104 final. Let's get into it with a recap for you this evening. Day after Christmas. Hope you guys had a good Christmas. Feeling good. Got to enjoy, spend some time with your family, all that good stuff. But let's talk about it tonight. Recapping it. AJ Green seems to have found his shot again. 20 points, 2 steals, 2 boards, 7 of 13 from the field, 6 of 11 from 3. That's a good sign. Miles Turner, Moesha, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal for him. We'll talk about him. Kyle Kuzma, really good second half, I thought. Afterthought in the first, but let me not say really good. Solid second half from Kyle Kuzma. 15, 8, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 5 of 10 from the field. So good efficiency, 5 of 7 from the free throw line. Bobby Portis, 15 and 12, 3 assists, 2 steals for him. 1 of 5 from 3. But he hit shots. What was he? 7 of 14 from the field. So it's 14 shots. 15 points on 14 shots. Nothing crazy. As Wesley Mans like to call him, Summertime Bob. Kevin Porter Jr., though, 16, 8 and 5, 2 steals, 7 turnovers. Can't happen. Cannot happen as my point guard, KPJ. And you guys know how much I love KPJ. I like what he brings. A lot of the hezzy tween basketball, a lot of the things you missed from Milwaukee Bucks basketball. But again, I go back to it. KPJ, as good as he is, like he's built to be a number 2. He's not built to be the best player every single night, in and out every night. I think that's asking almost too much of him. Again, 7 turnovers. I'm not asking enough for you not to turn the ball 7 times, okay? But you really need somebody else who has the ball a lot in an offense out there with him, because if not, I mean, it just becomes too much. It just becomes way too much for him out there. And again, when you're only shooting 4-15 from the field, it gets real ugly. It can get very ugly. But again, high energy. It was just a lot of turnovers. He didn't play particularly well, I agree, but it was just a high turnover volume for him. Jericho Sims, 2 points, 5 boards. Ryan Rollins, 15, 4 rebounds. He was 6 of 12, 5 of 12 from the field. 23 minutes, was in foul trouble. That last foul absolutely was not a foul. The last foul was absolutely not. That was a terrible call. Terrible call. Gary Harris, 8 points, 3 boards. Coffee had 2 points, and he had the bums come in. Andre Jackson Jr. hit a 3 from about half court. You look on the other side of things for Memphis, 24-9 from Jaren Jackson Jr. Aldama, 12 and 7. Cedric Coward, 15 and 5. Jalen Welch, 14 and 2. John Morant, 17 and 10 assists, 6 for 11 from the field. He was on a minutes restriction, played 25 minutes. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 13 and 2. Spencer had 19 points. G.G. Jackson, 7 points, 5 rebounds. Talk about what went wrong for a second here, and we won't be super long tonight. But out, and the fourth quarter things got away from him. I'll give you that. Sometimes that kind of happens. But this game, again, this game was, to me, it was just unfortunate because you had that second quarter where you go through these long stretches of not scoring the basketball, and that kills you. You had a 10-point lead in the first, and then you finish up, you go in half down 10 because you scored 15 points in the second quarter. And then even in that fourth quarter, there were moments, and every time you had that, I believe, was that in the fourth or was that the third? I think it was that the fourth where the foul on John Morant, where Rollins pokes the ball, it's kind of going in between his legs. John Morant picks it up, and Rollins is already fighting for the ball. There's 0.3 on the shot clock, and John Morant just hoists up a three, and that was a foul. Right. They called that a foul, and
there's one in the fourth where Cam Spencer goes and shoots some BS Grifton stuff, and the ball flies off of the backboard or something like that, and they give the late whistle. And it was stuff like that I thought really played a part in this one as well.
Yeah, but that was tough because that was well, and particularly the John Morant one. The Bucks were down 7,
yeah,
and that hurt, and had momentum, and that hurt you. Fouls hurt the Bucks tonight. There was one where it seemed like the Bucks get a little momentum going here, and boom, there's Jericho Sims with the illegal screen. He gets at least 1 or 2 every single night that they're calling on. Wesley Matthews pointed out on the broadcast. It seems like they're kind of targeting him for those screens. And again, tonight was unfortunate, but I'll say this, Chris. I'm not one of these people. I'm not bent out of shape over tonight because this is what the Bucks are. And at some point for me to expect something different, it's me, Mickey says the roster's trash. Doc has nothing to work with. That some of that is true. Like I look at this roster, I look at how this team plays, and I don't automatically go, oh, it's a Doc. Like I don't every night I just don't go, oh, it's Doc Rivers. I just don't do that because it's not always him. The team is just not, without Giannis, it's just not that. And we talked about it. We talked about before we came on here. This team as a collective unit reminds me of Chris Livingston. What do you actually do that's good as a team? Remember the Adrian Griffin season? You were on pace for a top 5 offense in the history of the game at one point in time. And that's how you were beating teams. This team is not very good defensively. They're below average. They're a below average defensive team. They're a below average offensive team. They don't have a great process offensively. They're a below average rebounding team. They don't take care of the ball. They turn the ball over. And this is before the turnover thing is not like it's like a KPJ. KPJ was out for long stretches of the season and they had turnover issues. So they turn the ball. The only thing this team does well is hit threes. And it's not like they don't have a high volume. They hit a good percentage number of threes. That's the only thing as a collective unit that they do well. And if you're not going to lean in and shoot like 50, 60 of them a game, then there's no event. I'll give you just one more and I'll go to the super chat and I'll let you have it, Chris. But you mentioned it, Chris, the rebounding tonight, 48-42. The Bucks won the rebounding battle. But guess what? They lost the turnover battle 22-13. So it's like when you actually do something better than the other team, you automatically negate it. Because the whole point in getting, and this is the part of the math of playing basketball, right, is, well, if I get more rebounds, I should get more shot attempts. But if you also turn the ball over at an insane rate, the rebounding advantage you have, the Bucks took 84 shots. The Grizzlies took 85. You negated it instantly with 11 turnovers. NYC Random Super Chat says, I can't take it. Team is dog shit, not enjoyable to watch. I agree. It is not an enjoyable watch. It's not an enjoyable watch. They let Ja have his first good game in 2 months. It's a buffet for everybody versus team. I guarantee a loss tomorrow. This team needs to change badly, just as. Good. Listen, I agree. It's not a good watch. Again, John Morant was able to get where he wanted to get. Thought he changed the game some when he especially that the first stint he had. I thought he changed the game a little bit, and put his mark on the game. But NYC Randy, and I let Chris go, but NYC Randy says this team needs to change. What is it? Is it an internal change? Do you need to change out half the roster? Again, and this is the last thing I'm saying. We keep looking at Kyle Kuzma as the money, where the money works to trade. And I'm not against trading Kyle Kuzma. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm not beholden to, we got to keep Kyle Kuzma. I'm telling you, the guy that stinks it up. The worst starter in the starting lineup is by far Miles Turner. Mm-hmm. By far, it's Miles Turner, which is sad. But again, that's what I saw tonight. 125-104, and again, I don't think the Bucks were that far off. That a terrible second quarter, but it's just unfortunate. And when you don't do anything particularly well, the margins will kill you, and that's what happened tonight. Bucks end up losing by 21 points. That's what I saw. Chris, what you say?
Yeah, I think certainly the inconsistencies of this team just show up night in, night out, and that's why you don't see us go win streaking basically at all. And to me, yeah, I think you're right. Like with the offensive rebound battle, winning that by a wide margin, winning the rebounding battle, like it's just you're so inconsistent in every other facet of the game that you're bound to just get beat in other areas. To me, the thing that was glaring was just how fast Memphis was able to get out in transition, whether it was from a turnover or whether it was from just a missed shot. Like, even if we won the rebounding battle, we still weren't getting back on defense to put ourselves in good positions to set up that zone or be able to slow their pace down. And the Memphis broadcast I was watching, they talked about that. They wanted to get out in transition. They wanted to make sure the Bucks didn't settle in that zone. And even at times that zone, you see allow easy buckets. So, yeah, I think this was just an indictment on who this basketball team is. I was watching the game, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, I don't know how it gets much better from here. I think after so many games where we win one and then lose, win one and then lose two, lose three, lose four, like I think this is it for this basketball team. And part of that starts with, okay, was this Miles Turner acquisition a failure? Like I think that's a very good question that we're going to have to start answering to, because you look at what he was able to do in Indiana. Was he a byproduct of that system? Because the role in which we have him now, it just looks all bad. It looks ugly. He's not great on defense and even worse on offense right now for us. Doing a lot of the same stuff I feel like we were mad at Brook for in the past couple of years. Those slow, lazy drives, turning the ball over, no plan, going to the rim, just being soft out there. There was multiple instances where, you know, he's doing what we're asking, getting a body on a guy with boxing out, and all of a sudden the ball just tips off his hands and goes out of bounds. Like it's those little margins as well that I feel like we lost today. Whether it was turnovers, whether it was missed opportunities, collecting loose balls, a lot of that stuff I think tied into why we weren't able to get over the hump. But yeah, this team just doesn't go very deep. This team has too many inconsistent players, too much inconsistent play from these players, and certainly guys thrusted into roles that they really shouldn't be playing, but they have to because this team relies so heavily on the health and having Giannis in the lineup. So that's what I saw.
Well said. This team does rely a lot on health and Giannis in the lineup. And there's a comment here from Jaker Obey. He says too much standing around on offense, just dribbling, going one-on-one. Nobody cuts or screens. And again, this team, again, you can blame John Horst. You can blame whatever you want to blame. This team, it's just so crazy. We talk about this every time. How we talk about this in the preseason. This team was built solely to be around Giannis. And again, we have Giannis who lives in the paint, who lives with he doesn't live on the perimeter. He doesn't. I have another question too. We'll get to this in a second, maybe a little bit later, about where Giannis ranks in the NBA, because there's a clear at this point. I argued it last night. I was arguing with someone on Twitter last night. I'm changing the subject in my head. I argued with someone on Twitter last night about Giannis And, because they were like, oh, Joker's the best player, has been the best player in the 2020s, whatever. And I was like, oh, no, it's Giannis. And then I said, then Joker goes with 55, whatever. At some point, and I know Justin's not here, so I can't wait when Justin comes back. We'll have to talk about it. At some point, we have to sit down and be real with ourselves and admit it, that Joker is the best player that Joker has surpassed Giannis. And in just every night in, night out, being the best player in the NBA in the world. But again, that's just a thought. But it
goes back to the availability, right? Like you got to be available,
Yep.
And that's not to say Giannis is some. Like, I'm not ready to go with the injury-prone player or anything like that, but I will say, like, it's getting to a point where the workload is so heavy that he's carrying year in and year out, and especially for this team now coming in and being the only real, like, bona fide superstar, I feel like that takes a toll on him, and then sitting out games and missing weeks on weeks, like, at some point, like, that does come into play, just as if defense comes into play for Shea and defense comes into play for Joker. I feel as if, like, availability is an important part of the game as well.
Well, and that's the other thing we talk about, and I don't know what Joker's usage rate is, but when we talk about Joker as far as just being able to shouldering a bunch of the load, he's always he puts up about this. He's giving you 30, and he's giving you more rebounds. And he's also a triple-double machine because he's giving you 10, 8, 9, 10 assists every night too. So, like, again, the difference between those two, when you talk about shouldering the load, to me, in my eyes, is that Giannis has to work hard. Now, this goes back to bag basketball. Yeah, because Giannis has less of a bag, it's the same thing. 30, 12, 6, 7 assists, whatever. It's the same thing, but he has to work so much harder to do it. Whereas Joker also has a much higher basketball IQ. It's so much easier for Joker to play the game of basketball. Now, he does have to be a rock down low and get those rebounds, kind of like a mountain down there, not really going to move. I get that piece. But that just goes back to Joker does the same thing. He gets the same stats. He give you 30, 15, and 7. 30, 15, and 9, he just doesn't – it does not take as much effort to do it. So maybe that is why he can stay a little bit healthier, because he doesn't have to back up and rim run and don't got to do all that. I might hit you with a 3. You don't know how to guard me because you back off. I'm pulling a jumper. You double team me, I'm passing out of it. It's an easy layup for a teammate or a 3-ball. Post up? You going to one-on-one me in post? I got a post move too. Oh, you get the ball here on the post and you playing me well? Quick move, because I got my IQ and I know you're shaded to the inside. I spin outside and get a layup on you. He is a much smarter player. He is and it just does not take as much. I didn't mean to derail it, but it was just something I was thinking of because you mentioned that, and I was just about to say because they talked about this team. Somebody in the comments talked about this team. And Giannis, as far as saying that everybody stands around. Again, they do that because Giannis can only occupy the paint. Giannis needs to occupy the paint, and you can't have guys crowd Giannis when he's in the paint. You need guys spaced out because they're already going to have sit a wall of 3, 4 guys inside while Giannis is there. So he needs guys standing around so they can punch the ball, so he can push the ball out to him when they do crowd him. Now, if you say, why are we talking about Giannis in the game where he didn't play? Well, because when Giannis isn't there, those guys' skill set, they didn't change. They don't all of a sudden become, now we can go to the basket and do it. No, their skill set is their skill set. And they were meant to play with Giannis. And because Giannis is there, they're still pass around the perimeter, pass around the perimeter guys. Again, Doc Rivers got to get people in better positions. And I think Miles Turner should be able to do more than he does. But he is soft as hell. I mean, there's no way around it. How many times he get the ball and he's begging for fouls? Like a little bitch. He begging for – I'm sorry, man. He begging for fouls, and they give it to him down the paint, and he flopping around. You are 7 feet tall, my man. Like, bro, it is very soft, man. He is one of the softest 7-footers. I think of him just like Dame when I look at and again, Dame was much better, of course, because you mentioned it, Chris. You said was the Miles Turner signing a failure? As of right now, it was a colossal failure This is worse than the Dame trade because he's provided nothing. I mean, he can't rebound. Ball goes off his chest. Tonight, he's hopping for the rebound. He's tipping it to the other team. It is pathetic the way he plays, man. And he talked about not. Somebody talked about the Bucks not being enjoyable to watch. He is not enjoyable to watch. Like I said, he is the worst player in the starting five. There's no question. He is by far the worst player in the starting five. And I just wonder. Again, I do think he does play a little bit better with Giannis in the lineup because Giannis kind of can erase. Giannis is another presence in the interior defensively as well with him. So, he's able to kind of be saved in that capacity. But by himself, no. Like, if you thought – it goes back to what I thought I thought that at the very least we were getting a defensive anchor, a guy who could protect the rim. Now, again, I know he has a lot of people running out rim runs, but he does not protect the rim very well. He doesn't defend back to the basket very well. JJJ did whatever he wanted to him. Offensively, he's literally, again, this is a Doc Rivers thing, it's a him thing. All he does is stand around, shoot threes. That is his entire game. Stands around, shoots threes. But here's the thing: when I look and go, okay, well, it's a Doc Rivers thing. But when he gets the ball, he doesn't look comfortable with it. Like when he has it, he doesn't look comfortable dribbling. He doesn't look comfortable he doesn't look comfortable at anything at all outside of a catch, sidestep, pump fake, three ball. That is the only thing he looks comfortable at right now in his offense. Outside of that, I mean, he is abysmal.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's telling for me is just looking at the matchups individually with him and other centers. How many times is he losing that matchup this season? It's probably more often than not. And then also when you think about, okay, it's different when you're playing premier backcourts. Like you can kind of understand that he's going to lose some of those matchups. But when it's guys like, I don't even know, was it Diabate for Charlotte? When it's guys like Koloko from tonight, like guys that are filling in, guys that are backups or just now getting their experience in the league, and or it was Kalkbrenner also for Charlotte. Like it's just not imposing. He's not imposing himself on these guys that should be mismatches when you look at the trajectory of each of their careers head to head. So I think that's the most, I guess, disappointing part is just the fact that it's not only happening against your premier big men in the league, it's also happening against guys that are just now getting their NBA minutes or just now filling in for some of those better talented centers. So I think that's what's been mostly disappointing for him. And then also just you mentioned him shooting those threes all the time. Well, it would be nice to also get some mid-range shots to fall so that way he's not so closely guarded when he tries to do those lazy moves to the paint. But that's not fallen, and that hasn't fell this season at all. And so, yeah, you're starting to wonder if he was just a byproduct of the system that he was in, and in which case it would be a real big shame that you spent $105 million on him.
I think it's more. I think it's more than that. Yeah, I think it's more than that. Yeah. Jace Buck and 6 says Miles needs to stop playing like he's Angel Reese. He don't play like Angel Reese. At least Angel Reese gonna go get a damn rebound. He worse than Angel. Angel Reese gonna finish with 15, 20 rebounds. No, he ain't. He is not. I don't know. I don't know that he's. I think Angel Reese has a better motor than Miles Turner by far. It ain't even close. That's an insult to Angel Reese.
Well, and can we say like better post moves? Like,
yeah, why not? He doesn't have a post game.
No.
Yeah, no. Hey, right now, if you pound for pound, I'm taking Angel Reese over Miles Turner. No question about it. NYC Red, another super chat. Appreciate it, brother. He says the difference is the Nuggets' entire starting five is better than our team. Joker was a first-round exit yearly with no Murray. Giannis can carry an offense, just needs a defensive-heavy team similar to OKC or the Bucks in 2021. I hear you, NYC, but he had Damian Lillard. You talk about no Murray. You had Damian Lillard. And again, it didn't always look great with Dame. Now, again, granted, they did not play a lot in the playoffs. Granted, that I will give you that caveat. But again, you had people before the play. You had people who said, so we're just talking about, let's just talk regular season. Let's just talk regular season Giannis and Dame. Since I'll give you that you didn't have the bright lights, Giannis and Dame, maybe it would have come alive and worked. People were considering the regular season a quote-unquote failure with Giannis and Dame, that it didn't look good then, so much so that it got your coach fired. It got Adrian Griffin. What for whatever reason, that team got Adrian Griffin fired. So when you say, well, it was without Murray, you had Dame, dog. That's all I mean, so he did have somebody else could quote unquote carry an offense, and at times they did, but people didn't, But that's another story about how you felt that time went. Again, regardless of the injuries, I don't know how you felt that time went in general. But again, you talk about the starting five, and again, I think the question though is for Giannis, do you have to have a certain group out there with him, guys that simply shoot threes? Again, people have said it, not me, but there are people out there who would say Giannis is probably one of the hardest superstars to build around because and they would say that is because his game is not his game is limited, but his bag is so limited to where you can't have a bunch of guys, a bunch of cutters. You have people who'd say, well, and again, think about what you want to Kyle Kuzma. Yeah, if you can't have another non-shooter out there with Giannis because he's already a non-shooter. So it limits the type of player. If you just want a defensive guy that can go out there and get stopped, you can't have two non-shooters on the court. It's bad enough to have one. You can't have two non-shooters. He's one of the non-shooters that people are playing off. So again, I'm just saying those are things that you will hear. OGT says Dame didn't really carry. That was the problem as well. But I'm just saying, if you were to put pound for pound Damian Lillard versus my man in Denver, Jamal Murray, you're taking Damian Lillard. Maybe not now. Yeah. Maybe not now, but you were.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's an interesting point you bring up because that's what we were talking about when, the whole trade speculation comes about where it's like, all right, you throw Giannis into a system where it's also dominated by Jalen Brunson with the ball in his hands all the time, just throwing out a specific example. But yeah, I mean, I certainly think that there's some like there has to be, I think, at this point, an actual team that complements Giannis, that is built around Giannis. And maybe it's, I have a hard time getting with some of the chat that says, well, even with Giannis, this team won't be anything or whatever. Because we just haven't, in totality, seen the team be all the way healthy yet. Like, we just haven't seen a long stretch where KPJ has been back. Where, I mean, you even look down the bench, like Taurean Prince has missed a lot of time, right? Like, so I'm not making the injury excuse for this Bucks team. It's just we haven't seen a long stretch with Giannis, KPJ, and what that kind of looks like. Because you said it, you're like, KPJ is a 2. And I'm starting to believe the same as well. Like he can't do the things that a real superstar, a real one does to will this team to victory, as you see right now. So, but the harsh truth of this whole thing is just that this team is 12-19 right now. Giannis has missed a lot of time in this stretch, and they can't win basketball games. So that's just the point blank period at the end.
I'm just looking at a tweet from Nathan Marzion. He says Miles Turner is a career low, 41% from the field, and 49% from 2. So he's under 50% from 2, and he's 41% from the field in the total. And again, it goes back to the question of where the pace. To be fair, Pacers fans did tell us this is what Miles Turner would be, that he was ass, and that he didn't show up. And we saw in the final, and I'll agree, in the finals he did not show up. This is bad because this was the free agent acquisition that the Bucks went after, and like I said, so far it hasn't worked. Rick Hamilton says we should have pursued the best available young players every year instead of older players like Lillard and Turner. Again, I disagree with this, Rick. Giannis, because you have to also think about what was the franchises. What were they trying to do? They wanted to keep Giannis. Giannis wanted Dame, so you go get Dame. You have to again, unless you're gonna say, hey, we're gonna do whatever we want. Feel how you feel, Giannis. Which you can do, but the Bucks have chosen not to do that. And you can argue that was the wrong thing. But the Bucks chose to, and again, a lot of teams, many teams, it's hard to fault them because again, they at the end of the day, the superstars do hold the power. Because if they say I want out, then there's nothing you can really do. So you have to acquiesce to what they want. He wanted Dame, and he got Dame. But I disagree with your point on older players. Miles Turner's 29. He's not some old 34-year-old. Like your prime is really between 27 and somewhere between 32 and 33. That's supposed to be your prime as an elite athlete. So Miles Turner is right in the middle of what should be his prime. I guess that's all. I just disagree with that. The fact that, we're saying, oh, we shouldn't have to, like every young player. Like, are you telling me that you only want players 22, 23, 24, and that's all you can? And after they get 29, they're cooked. I don't know if that's true. How old was Chris Middleton when he gave you 40 in the finals in 2021? I don't think he was 20. He wasn't 25. So I disagree with that notion. Anyway.
Well, you look at what the initial reaction was, and maybe some of the fans were right that were saying, that Miles Turner was a byproduct of the system early when they made the signing. But I think most of the fans, if not just a majority of the fans, were actually surprised that we were able to get Miles Turner and make the upgrade we thought was going to happen with, a younger guy than Brook Lopez, at least at that. And somebody who could, from what we saw from Miles Turner in the past couple of years, being able to roll off screens hard and get lobs, get dunks, be able to score, be able to shoot from deep. And it's just been like kind of a shell of probably what the best of Miles Turner has ever been.
Yeah, we're not seeing it. And so again, I don't think the franchise is going to give up on him. I don't think they will. I probably would. I just don't. I don't think they will. I do disagree. I'm not gonna get into it tonight. I feel like we do it all the time. I'm just not gonna get into all the discussion about John Horst. It is so revisionist to me. Yes, and you can get on a couple different trades that you may not have liked, but we talking about some second round picks for was it Crowder's trade? No, it was even Dante for Serge. It didn't work, but we didn't need Dante at that point in time. I won't get into it. I disagree totally with all this stuff. But anyway, go back to tonight and just trying to find a way. I guess here's my question for you, Chris. How do you put this thing together? Are you even able to put this thing together where you can – because you have to be able to find ways to build wins. You have to be able to find ways to build wins on a nightly basis until Giannis gets back. And again, you have a schedule that is conducive for that. I know, and it's so funny they were talking on the broadcast, like, oh, you got teams under 500. The Bucks are under 500. 12-19 right now. You are almost you are 5 games out of the 6th seed. Like, let's not. Now, what you do have going for you is when you look at all these teams in front, you look at the 6th seed, Orlando, they're 4-6 in their last 10. Cleveland at 7, 4-6 in their last 10. Miami, 2-8 in their last 10. Chicago, 6-4 in their last 10. Atlanta, 2-8 in their last 10. So you do have a lot of teams that aren't, not only they don't have good record, they're objectively not good teams, but the Bucks are right there with them. They're 3-7 in their last 10. And so you have Charlotte coming up. They're 5-5 in their last 10. It's just, you can't count any of these wins. And again, I think the Bucks will be doing, if they could, by the time Giannis gets back, be 5 games under 500, I would take that. I would take it and hope that you can get yourself on a streak where you do win 8 of 10 with him or something like that. Because counting wins, I just don't see a point in doing it. And I'll say this: the only way the Bucks can win consistently without Giannis is KPJ and Rollins have to play fantastic together. And again, we talk about, and I think the byproduct of that is turnovers have to be cut down, and you have to rebound somewhat decently. I actually think a lot of the on-ball a lot of the just general defense is not terrible, but when you couple that with not being able to get a rebound, and again, they're just not opportunistic. They're not an opportunistic basketball team. Like it seems like when the game is in the balance, or when it's a 7 or 8 point game, you're down 7 or 8. You're trying to get back into it. Here comes a foul. Here comes a turnover. Here comes a bat. They can never string it all together at once. I just don't know how. I don't know what happens tomorrow. They could absolutely come out and play lights out, but could they lose by 20? Yeah. And NYC Reigns says they need a miracle trade. Again, when you say trade, I don't think it's one thing. Like, everybody's like, oh, MPJ. I think they need to. I think 3 or 4 people. I think they're at the point where they need almost like a retooling of the entire roster, where 3 like those bench guys of Coffee, what's the man? What's the guard? Cole Anthony, Coffee, Gary Harris, even Sent. All those guys got to be on the table. Because again, I'm not saying you're gonna be able to do a MPJ, a Marjan Beauchamp and KPJ kind of deal where you can finagle somebody like that. But you need, like I said, along with your big pieces of, if it's a Kyle Kuzma or something like that for MPJ, like one player alone is not fixing this. MPJ alone is not fixing this roster. And so you need to find some other guys that you can play, and that you can try to get some production, some value out of those guys. Because if not, you're just in a world of trouble. And I'm having a hard time trying to see how this thing changes unless you get 3 or 4 guys in here. Maybe one impact guy, but then you need 2, 3, 4 guys that you think can play. And I'd be okay if you're sending out either, like I said, Bobby, Kuz, Miles Turner, all 3 of those guys, and everybody on the bench. Again, I'm okay if those guys are gone, because again, it can't get any worse than this.
Yeah, no, definitely can't. I just think that when it comes to seeing if this team, if they can improve anything before Giannis gets back, it's just a matter of the guys have to, I think, the most important guys, again, just like you said, that backcourt has to show up, not turn the ball over. Kyle Kuzma has to continue doing what he does. I feel like he's probably been one of the more consistent players on this basketball team, and so I think he's really going to have to keep stepping up, because you know what you're not getting from Miles Turner all the time on a night-to-night basis. Bobby has been pretty good as of late, but even still, then, like, that front court has issues if Kuz or Bobby is not getting it going. So it has to be a complete effort from the guys that actually have the ability to make noise on the basketball floor. I think as far as like a scheme standpoint, I think offensively it's still, I think a byproduct of a lot of the turnovers is just the passing the ball around the perimeter, not a lot of action going on. I think that's why they turn the ball over so much. I think I remember an instance where KPJ just kind of throws the ball out of bounds because AJ Green and Ryan Rollins don't know who it's going to. And that's the thing. You got 3 defenders up there on all 3 of you, and nobody's making a move to cut. Nobody's making a move to get to the basket. And so there's a lot of that stuff going on offensively that just shows me it's a disgruntled group of guys when it comes to who's going to be the guy, who's going to be able to facilitate this offense, who's going to be able to create for others. And, obviously Ryan Rollins with 23 minutes tonight, and that's a byproduct of the fouls, but he definitely needs to take a little bit more control with the basketball in his hands, I think, because we've seen him play that primary dominant ball guard, and it's not been as poor as maybe we would have thought it would have been coming into this season. I feel like he's taking care of the ball a little bit better this year. And so, yeah, I think offensively, I think that's where these issues start to pile up because it leads to transition buckets. It leads to not being able to rebound, not being able to get back on defense. And so if they really want to tighten that up, it has to be a collective effort from the guys that really show you that they can bring something to the table. But, yeah, the depth problem, that's a complete issue. Like, that you're losing every night on just not having the guys to play. And that's pretty frustrating.
Yeah, no, they don't. I mean, again, they don't have a. There's just nothing about this team that makes sense from a. You talk about the passing, leading to turnovers. Again, we talk everything's east-west. This basketball, everything's east-west around the perimeter. Not enough guys can get downhill, and that's a problem. And Jace Bucks and 6. I think you're totally off base with a lot of stuff I'm looking at here. I just think you're. He says OKC might get desperate come for Giannis. They just want a championship. They're not about to trade for Giannis. Like, that's not how this thing works. And he says rip the Band-Aid off, trade Giannis. Again, there's a fair amount of people who are like that. Again, you have to recognize this is your team without Giannis now. And so rebuild sounds cool. It sounds great. Not every rebuild goes. Washington's been rebuilding for a long time. Charlotte's been rebuilding for a long time. And they are finally all up in arms over Con Knipple. They thought, guess what? But they were up in arms over LaMelo Ball. He hardly plays. Is he a winning player? Is the conversation here. They're up in arms over Brandon Miller. Always hurt. You're always up. Again, there's this whole thing that we just rebuild. That guarantees you nothing. It guarantees you for every OKC that rebuilt and is rebuilt and did whatever they did and got themselves to where they went. For everyone, I can name you a Charlotte. I can name you a Utah. I can name you a Washington. I can name you teams that are constantly in rebuilding mode and trying to figure things out. I can give you a Philly who tanked on purpose and put their entire fan base through terrible basketball on purpose. Basically gave a whole trust the process. That process led them nowhere. They look like that process led them to 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness. That process got them absolutely nothing. So I'm just saying, this is one of the things where you've had a superstar for 13 years, however long Jan's been here, and you start to take it for granted that you have a guy like that. And I don't think you really ever can. It sounds good, but in reality, I don't know if that's true. NYC Randy Super Chat says, we need a 2018 Cavs roster flip. I agree. He says, I agree, Trey. No one player fixes roster. Need 3 or 4 players or 2 game changers. Don't know how, but I'm hoping. And for all you people who don't like John Horst, he does provide that. Again, I just go back to, he got you Damian Lillard. When you got Miles Turner, how'd you feel about getting Miles Turner? I felt good about it. Will it work? I don't know. But John Horst seems to be able to pull something out. And I fully trust that he will do that again. Jairus Artist 9394 Super Chat, appreciate it. He says Miles has got to go. He wasn't this bad in Indy. I would agree. I would do it. I don't think they will. I do not believe that they will. I really don't. I don't know. Frederick Thomas says Kuzma is the glue. I don't know if I go that far about Kuzma. James Moore says Philly has Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid is basically asked Joel. Yeah, again, constantly look. Again, let me tell you where you're going. Tyrese Maxey is your best player. You ain't winning no champion. You are still Philly is still looking for. But a lot of people, we talked about this before too. A lot of people love hope. They love the feeling like, oh, they like I talked about before. They like the idea of winning without having to actually do it. So feeling like you can win is more important than having the roster or a guy who can get you those wins. So again, I like Tyrese Maxey. He's not a superstar. He's not. Again, look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I've said it before a million times. I've never thought Donovan Mitchell could be the best player on a basketball team and you win a championship. I've never thought that about Donovan Mitchell. And that's where, and again, that team is thinking about what they can do. So, again, I just say this, I leave it alone. Most of the guys that get drafted that are really, really good, they end up just being that really, really good. And those are the guys that you look at. Like, I'll give you for example, the Hawks. We can't give up Jalen Johnson for Giannis. Jalen Johnson's probably never. Giannis is at it when Giannis retires. He's going to be a top 20 player ever to play the game of basketball. Jalen Johnson will likely never get to. Jalen Johnson will probably never be a top 50 player to play basketball. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll surprise us, but he will probably just end up being very, very good. Maybe even very great. Look at Paolo Banchero, how he started. Orlando got a pick. Just because you have it. This is probably Paolo's worst year. That's how it goes. And Paolo, I think, really good score. I thought when he got real deal, he's never gonna be, oh my God, this dude's the best player in the league. He's never gonna turn into that. Paolo Banchero is never gonna be a top 3 player in the NBA at any given time in his career. He's never gonna be that. So I'm just saying, my whole point is it's just so easy. Get these picks and rebuild. Get the picks and rebuild. It's not how it works, man. It's not how it works. Anyway, Bucks losing tonight. Can't get the dub. 125, 104. I'm going to go to Twitter. Chris King, anything else you want to get at before we hit Twitter?
No, I think it's telling. I think when you break down these losses and how they keep snowballing after just like games that you should win and then still drop games the next time out, I think it's just really telling, and there's a lot of intangibles of a bad basketball team as it stands right now. And so, we talk about all the things that we want to see happen. We don't know if they're actually capable of doing these things at a high level anymore, just with the inconsistencies that we've seen so far.
One more before we go to Twitter. I was because we did talk about it for a second. But are you on the same page? Are you on that page that Joker is? Like, where are you ranking Giannis now, top players in the NBA? Like, where is he now for you?
Yeah, I think it's really hard when he's not on the floor to just immediately cement him as number one. Now, when I watch him play, and you as a Bucks fan and the viewers in the chat, I think what's happening on a night-to-night basis when he's actually playing is like, he cements himself in that top 2, like, easily. But without him being on the floor, I look at what guys are doing across the board, and I say they are helping their team right now, obviously, more than what Giannis is doing, not being able to be out there. So I'd probably slot him in around 3, around 4 still, because you're going to see this team improve regardless when he comes back. You're going to see this team win more games than they would if they had to finish the season out without him. So I think you still understand that he's up there and he's top 3, top 4, but just right now without being there, it makes it a little harder to say he's the best player in the world.
And I'll say this too, Giannis has always talked about the grind and wanting to be a part of the grind. And you mentioned, you say he's 3-4, wherever you think he's at this place in the world rankings. There's no doubt about it. Whether you want to blame coach, I see people in the chat, whether you want to blame coaches, team, roster, GM, front office, ownership, this team is not a good basketball team. Giannis has an opportunity to, his legacy cemented, but Giannis has an opportunity coming back to this team, wherever record they are when he comes back, if he can elevate this basketball team to good basketball, this could be one of the, he could single-handedly show exactly why he is the best player in the world or top 2. He has this is the year where, you can pull, if you can pull this team out of the mud. Listen, hey, there will be something to be said about this season if Giannis can come back and turn this thing around. All right, let's go to Twitter. At Sympathy MVP says Ryan's phantom defensive foul calls cost any comeback. It is what it is. We focus too much on the players when Doc is playing zone for too long and adjusting far too late. Trouble starts with him. At JR Horva says, I don't see a way out of this at this point that doesn't include a Miles Turner answer. Sadly, they overpaid him. The end is near. A-Zip70 says this shit show of a team will be 12-20 after tomorrow night. Horse is just sitting on his ass, refusing to make any moves. Turner continues to get worse by the game and is abysmal. Doc, it says, Doc, don't give a F. It just continues to smile and laugh along with every pathetic loss. At Inked Up 615 says there's no excuse for not making a trade already. Feels inevitable that we are gearing up for a Giannis trade, more than one to keep him here. And if they're putting together a big trade to keep Giannis around, then they need to pull the trigger ASAP or the season is lost. At Drew Barrett says, I think counting on Giannis for anything this season is a fool's errand. Not even January, and he's had 2 soft tissue issues already. Even if he comes back, he's probably getting hurt again. Shut him down, let him heal, and get a lottery pick. Okay. At the Wisconsin kid says 77-72. Assuming it's Doc's record. 26th in offensive rating. 20th in defensive rating. Doc Rivers' is ass. Miles Turner is a soft-ass hoe. Getting real tired of him playing bad. Horse needs to do something yesterday. A couple more here. At Notions of Nick says at this point, just trade Giannis, start the rebuild. This team isn't built to compete, and Doc isn't equipped to coach modern basketball. At J. Phil, Texas says going to be positive. Only 5 games back of the 6th seed that can be made up in 2 weeks. At MK Bucks 91 says didn't think we would win this one. We had Spurs where we played really well. Could have got a win if the shots were falling, but they weren't. Lock in, get the next 4. I think they will go Bucks. Last one, at Cookie the Best says, I'll do 2 more. Cookie the Best says, Miles Turner's a disgusting offensive basketball player. He makes me wish we still had Old Man Lopez sometimes. Doc Rivers, once again, hilariously bad rotation. Slowly losing my will to watch this team. Very few bright spots on a given day. And the last one, Big Step Before Life says, Miles Turner straight dookie. Bucks are overpaying for a dude who will make an occasional 3 and do absolutely nothing else. Get this bum off my team. Anything there you want to comment out? So it seems like there's a lot of frustration about the Bucks in general and people wanting trades. And then Miles Turner again Miles Turner has replaced Bobby Portis. So that's how you know how Bobby Portis is playing, because Miles Turner's replaced him as the people everybody gets on after every single game.
Yeah, I think it's just, when people bring up the trades, like right now, sitting on his hands, doing nothing, John Horst, like what can he do at this point? Do you see other teams making moves? Do you see other teams, allowing their guys to be shopped right now? Like, you don't really see that. And then also, you're probably one of the worst basketball teams in the league right now with what you're putting out on the court. So I don't think anybody's necessarily, head over heels over the assets or lack thereof that the Bucks are putting out on the floor.
That's a great point, Chris. Well-reasoned, thought-out basketball point. Nobody's made a trade yet. And he's sitting on his hands. And 2, I think it takes 2 teams to make trades. Like, you don't just wave a magic wand and trade. That's not how this thing works. And again, it's like, Chris, this is kind of like when, what's a tip for anybody in the chat? If you are trying to get a job, wait a minute. You know the best time to look for jobs, Chris?
When's that?
When you already have one. It's the best time.
Yep.
Because you're in a good spot. You're in a good position. You're relaxed. The worst time is when you're desperate and when you don't have a job or when you think you're about to get fired and you are frantic. Interviewers, man, they can almost fear. They can feel and hear the desperation in your voice and that's the thing. When you're somebody who's not wanted, who other people have rejected, there's a lot of people who don't think you're gonna be a good candidate for that role. So, and I think that works the same in basketball and anything, where if you are, again, it works in relationships. I'm not saying that the best time to look for another relationship when you're in one, but I'm saying that if you haven't had a girlfriend for a while and all your relationships are trash, and you calling somebody up every other day, this girl, somebody finally paid me some attention. You call her every single day. Hey, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with this guy? That's what they're gonna think. So if you call a team once, we don't know, but you can't call them tomorrow. They're gonna think you're desperate, and they're gonna offer you even less because they know how weak and desperate you are. So just because John Horst hasn't done anything doesn't mean that he's not working the phones and working and trying to get back channel deals done. Doesn't mean that, but you can't make a panic move either. NYC Randy super chat says this always happens. People said Dame is better than Curry when Curry missed a year. Giannis has missed time, and fans are forgetting what he does. Once he plays again, we will all quickly remember who Giannis is. NYC, and that was Chris's point. Yeah, you got to get on the floor and prove it. Giannis, though, again, I think the issue, though, NYC, is we can let that slide once or twice. But when we've had constant year, every other year, you're missing time in the playoffs. When these other guys, Joker is playing deep into the second round, West Coast Finals, whatever it is in the playoffs. SGA is going and winning a championship or playing deep every year. These other guys are playing when you're showing up and showing out in the playoffs every single year. The issue, and I agree with you, NYC. The issue is this is starting to become more frequent, and that's when people will again not necessarily forget. Perfect example: Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid was MVP. If Joel Embiid did not have the injuries, Joel Embiid is in all the conversations for one of the greatest players to play this game, one of the best centers of all time. That's how good he is as a talent. But when you again, and I'm not suggesting Giannis is in the Embiid category as far as injuries go, but when you rack up the injuries like that and you don't play, and you hobble coming into playoffs every year, and you can't put on your best performance because you hurt, people are gonna start to question. They just will. That's how it goes. Jace Buck in 6 says, "Who's the MVP right now? SGA or Joker? Who has a better record right now?" Well, OKC does. Yeah. Denver's only 3.5 away, so I go Joker right now. Joker's a hell of a player, man. I know he used to go to that defense argument, and I can argue too. But I don't know. Watching maybe it's the Christmas bias, but it was he had a hell of a game. All right, let's go to game balls. Who are you giving the game ball to, Chris King?
It's tough. I'll go when to get in here. I'll go with Ja Morant because of that second quarter. It felt like he was a guy that played smart basketball, took advantage of mismatches, was frying AJ Green for a little bit, and then all of a sudden started to get his teammates involved. Did it in only 25 minutes? Is that what you said? So I think Ja Morant deserves some praise tonight for taking over that second quarter, and we couldn't get over that hump from there. They ultimately, I think they won. What did they win that quarter by? 15 points, something like that.
20, yeah,
20
points.
Jeez.
Yep.
So Ja Morant gets my game ball, aka still don't want him in Milwaukee, aka I don't know. I don't have another AKA. Don't want him in Milwaukee.
AKA AJ Green should have smacked the fire out of him.
On that foul.
Yeah.
For what?
Here's the thing.
That's the reason I don't want him in Milwaukee. Just temper.
I saw some people saying, that would have worked out well for AJ Green. Man, this is the NBA. If you hit somebody, if he did that and you gave him a quick peek, pop, people would have broken that up before you know it, and you'd have been fine. You're not in the streets. You don't have to. You don't have to answer for any of this stuff. You can smack somebody in the. Now you might get fined. You might keep that again. You can smack somebody up in the face, and people will run up on you and bum rush you, and before you know it's over. A lot of hold me back, or at least give them a nice hard shove, and then act like you was gonna do something, and it'll be over before you know it. You'll be good. You'll be in good shape. That's what I wanted to see there. For me, game ball, got to win to get in. I'm gonna go Jaren Jackson Jr. 24-9, 1 assist, 1 steal, 9 of 18 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, 4 of 6 from the line. I thought he played great tonight. He was miles better than Miles Turner. And again, when they got matched up against each other, Jaren Jackson executed and played well. So my game ball is gonna go to Jaren Jackson Jr., aka Triple J, aka my shot release is ugly, but I cash it. Yeah, I got nothing else for JJJ either for Triple J. So 125, 104 is the final. Let's look around the NBA. Tonight, Grizzlies get the dub. Jazz are up 6 with 8 minutes to play with the Pistons right now. Trailblazers are up 11 over the Clippers with 8 minutes to play in the third. The Heat get a win over the Hawks. Big night from Trae Young. Khalil Ware 16 and 13. Norman Powell 25 and 7. Trae Young 30.6 assists. Jalen Johnson 24 and 10. Again, the Hawks have continued to go down ever since Trae Young has come back. How about the Hornets? Hornets are 1 game in the win column behind the Bucks. That is wild to say. They're 11 and 20. They get a win. Concanipple did like had an ankle roll. He'll probably out for a while. LaMelo Ball 22. Brandon Miller with 15. Ben Carroll only 13 points tonight for Orlando. That's a bad loss for them. How about the Wizards? 131-17 over the Raptors. Raptors starting to slide a bit. 29 and 6 from Ingram. Chris Middleton 6 points tonight. Let's see. AJ Johnson 2 minutes, didn't really play. Bulls get a win over the 76ers. Suns beat the Pelicans 115-108 as well. Let's see, anything else in look around you thinking of or want to know? Let me ask this. Did you have any thoughts about the NFL? A lot of people talked about the Christmas Day games and the NBA blowing their as far as the competition level, blowing the NFL out of the water. Are you of the mindset the NFL should give up Christmas, or what are you thinking?
Well, no, I don't think they should give up Christmas, because my TV, if there were good NFL games on, would have been just locked on Netflix, and that's just the truth. Like, or Prime or whatever the other games are on. Like, the games were bad. They picked those in advance. Like, Chiefs go down, Patrick Mahomes goes down, they go down. Obviously, the Cowboys. We just need to stop putting the Cowboys on primetime every single week. Like, let's just be honest. Like, I get it, America's team, whatever. They've just been not that good. Obviously, the Commanders get an injury with Jaden Daniels. He goes down early, missed 9 games so far, and you're dealt with some bad games, a bad slate, and so I think if they had good games on, I would have probably been watching football. But yeah, I mean, credit to the NBA bouncing back, because I think what it came out as, like, the NFL had a better Christmas last year, right? So for them to come and take it back, that's good. It's good for the NBA. Still don't know if the 82 game product is all that great from the NBA as of recently, but they certainly had the better product yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with all those points. And again, the thing is crazy. The numbers are probably still going to show that the NFL beat out the NBA as far as viewership. But here's the thing: next year, I believe you're going to have Christmas Eve on Thursday. Christmas will be on a Friday. You could have a scenario where the NFL goes their normal Thursday night football. Boom, you throw that on a Christmas Eve. And that's the other thing. Why is nobody playing on Christmas Eve? Why is no basketball? I have no clue. But you roll out your Christmas Eve on Thursday, your NFL games Friday, and then you do a Saturday. They're gonna have a couple games this Saturday coming up, Packers and Ravens. Again, that game is also gonna feature a couple backup quarterbacks as well. But yeah, I think the NFL is gonna. That's my thought for where the NFL goes. Again, it's all about the ratings. So if the numbers look good, it doesn't matter how the games actually turn out. So I think that's how it's going to work. Let's see. Anything else? Anything else you want to get at for look around here? I don't know how long we went tonight. I feel like we were a little shorter than normal, but
We're about an hour and 5 minutes in. I think
Okay.
just the only other thing I have is just the spacing between these college football games is a little ridiculous. It's a little ridiculous. The last time you saw Ohio State or Georgia on your TV, those teams with that bye, was like nearing 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that's just a little drawn out. And maybe they're avoiding some competition with some of these other major sports that are being played, but at the same time, it's dragging along, and the anticipation is not high right now because you're still looking at the Friday after Christmas, and you still got to wait till midweek to get those actual quarterfinal games in. I think quarterfinal. Yeah. So drawn out.
I agree with that. Let me ask, since you're on college, let me ask you one question. We saw who's the guy who got drafted in the first round going back to college?
James Najee.
James Najee. And it's interesting. We were talking about this in our chat, but the more and more I think about it, and I think you said, "Oh, the NCAA's cooked."
I'm done.
Listen though, the more I think about this, Chris, I don't think it's that bad of an idea. Why not? Why are we pretending like? Why not have the NCAA be a true feeder system into the NBA? You still get people are one and done. They're already paying for the one and done. It'd be different if this is like fresh out, but everybody's paying a jumping around portal anyway. Why not allow these guys to, if you don't get where you want to be, go ahead, run back down, and let open it up. I think that would make things very exciting.
No, the issue is that there's way too many teams for that. There's way too many college basketball teams. If you're keeping college, right? There's 360 plus teams in college basketball. Okay, but then at what point is this starting to get unfair? At what point is being able to throw $1 million, $500,000 at some 22-year-old? Now it's not James Najee because he was just drafted, but like at what point is it getting excessive to allow 23-year-olds that were in the G League, 24-year-olds that were in the G League come back to college and play college ball, like, and still have a couple of years of eligibility? And the thing is, like, okay, maybe that would be fine, but they need to be graduate students. Now, I don't know how that works in the admissions process, probably not that, but they need to have 1 year of eligibility if they're coming in at 24 years old. That's ridiculous. I mean, again, taken away from the kids in high school. I'm not a big, cry for the kids in high school because if you're good enough, they'll take you. But at the end of the day, it gets to a point. It gets to a point, and you wouldn't see this in the NFL. You wouldn't see guys that are getting drafted to the NFL or playing in the UFL come back down to college football, and maybe you will in the future if they, get that situated. But I don't like it for the sense that it just kind of cooks the point of college sports, and it kind of cooks the low major, the mid major teams that aren't able to pay these guys. And I'm not even talking about from a Dayton perspective, because we just signed a 22-year-old from Belgium overseas and he's playing right now. So I see that they're being proactive about it, but for the other squads that can't do that, it's just such a disadvantage.
Yeah, like I said, to answer, when was it ever fair? That's my thing. Duke is up there every year. Back in the day, Carolina, all the big name programs have always been the big. Kentucky, all the big name programs were always the big name programs for a while. And yeah, I don't know. I think there's an opportunity for that the one or two kids to go to a certain place. Maybe it is a Dayton. There will be one or two guys who go to a Dayton, who go to a James Matt, who go to a Davidson, wherever that place is. And balls out. And again, I just think it'd be fun. I get it, because to your point, I think it's already cooked as far as what it was. But it's out of hand. So it's just hard to get the toothpaste back into the bottle. So
yeah, I mean, they just need ultimately, I feel you with the feeder system. I think it'd be really cool if they could just, because I feel like the overseas leagues are doing far better probably for these guys instead of the G League. But to actually have a feeder system from college to the NBA, I think that would be pretty cool. But I feel like it just gets to a point where maybe you need a commissioner, like I said, or maybe you need some like set rules and regulations for this stuff, because a lot of these guys, it's not working in the G League, so they're going to come back to college. But what's the point of that? Probably for the money most of the time. Like, I'm not sure that these G League guys are coming over from having no college experience and come back down to college to really necessarily improve their draft stock or improve their chances to go to an NBA team. I don't know if that's going to happen, because we see what NBA has done to guys that are, playing in their 6th year of college or whatever, and they're 24, 25. Unless they're a superstar, they're probably not going to be picked or even like signed to an NBA roster.
Yeah. No, I get some of that. I don't know, I just think it'd be interesting to see how it works out. But again, to your point, you need a commissioning. What you need, it sounds like you need to try to make these people employees, which which leads to an entire host of problems they don't want to get into. See a couple more questions from the Twitter. From the chat here. James Moore, Houston Texans versus LA Chargers, Ravens, Green Bay. Who you have? I'm gonna take Texas Chargers. Might be good. I'm gonna take Baltimore, Green Bay. I'm gonna take Green Bay. I think Malik Willis is gonna go show what he can do, as he does often. Houston, LA is a tough one. I'm gonna take the Texans though. Good defense over there.
Yeah, I really enjoy their defense. Isn't it the Chargers and the Broncos battling for that number 1 seed in the AFC? Is that those two?
Yeah, let me see.
I think it could be. And if that's the case, then I think it'll all, because I think they play again too. I think they play next week after this week. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers, just because I feel like, although the defense is great in Houston, it's just something about CJ Stroud that I just don't feel all the way comfortable picking all the time. Like I don't know if offensively they produce as much as they probably could. Now, you get that connection with Nico Collins going. I don't really like their receivers elsewhere. I don't know if their running back situation is all the way figured out. I think Woody Marks was the guy, and then Jawar Jordan comes in last week and puts up 100 yards on 20 carries with a touchdown. So I don't know if they're all the way figured out on offense yet. Good team for sure, but I'll take the Chargers. And then Ravens, Green Bay. I think Green Bay will take them.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. Looks like these are Broncos are 13-3, Pats are 12-3, Jags 11-4, Chargers 11-4, Bills are also 11-4 out in the NFC. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that shakes out over there. NFC is basically all kind of wrapped up. As outside of seeding, they look kind of all wrapped up. And then you have the outside of Panthers, Buccaneers. See who wins the NFC South. Big game in Charlotte this Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks as well. Okay. All right, that's it. You got anything else? Or you ready to run to? All right, good stuff. 125-104. Grizzlies beat the Bucks. James Moore says these guys respond. These guys at least respond to our questions in real time. Well, I'm not. See, that's not. We ain't gonna talk about other. So, but we will answer your stuff in real time, James. We absolutely will. 125-104. Grizzlies beat the Buccaneers. What the hell? Grizzlies beat the Milwaukee Bucks. 125-104. Just wasn't enough tonight, but we'll see if we can get this thing right back on track tomorrow night against the Chicago Bulls. Got to get a win. Really need a win. Don't want to get 8 games under 500. Again, as I say, it's December, so it's hard to be in. It is very hard in December to be in must-win mode. But you're about as close as you can get to being there. And like I said, trades will need to be made over the next couple weeks or something like that if this continues. Because this is the easy part of the schedule, if you will. The next 6 games. And the Bucks need to find a way to like, again, I'm thinking if you can be 4 or 5 games under 500 when Giannis comes back, I'll take it. And then you have to make a run after that point. But yeah, we appreciate you guys for joining us. Could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. I didn't ask you, how was your Christmas, Chris?
Oh, it was great. It was great. Got to spend time with the family. This is my first Christmas without my older brother. Now he's okay. He's just at the military bowl tomorrow, 11 a.m. So he wasn't able to be there. So thinking of that, but yeah, it was great. Just hanging out with family, man, and spending time with the loved ones, because that doesn't come around often. And then for those of you guys that don't know, I'm a teacher, so I'm enjoying a couple weeks off here, and we'll get geared up for hopefully even more Bucks either hope or destruction right now, because this is getting bad. But I'll be there with you guys, and we'll be here with you guys. And shout out to you guys in the chat too for being here through this abysmal start, 12-19. If they lose tomorrow, I think that's, what is that going to be, the mark for the worst record this year, like 8 games below 500. So but it's telling about how much you guys support us being in here during these trials and tribulations here at the Cream City Crossover. We've never experienced it before on this post game, since it's just 3 years young. So appreciate you guys still sticking with us through all of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. We hope you all had a good Christmas and happy holidays as we continue on through them. And again, we do appreciate you for being here with us. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us tonight, rocking out after the Bucks lose 125-104, 20-point loss. And you guys are in the room, and we appreciate it. So if you could hit that like button on the way out, if you didn't do it on the way in, we would greatly appreciate that. All the likes, follows, subscribe, everything. Tell a friend, tell another friend about the Cream City Crossover. It is the best Milwaukee Bucks postgame show in all of the land. We'll see you tomorrow. This has been a Cream City Media Group production from the Group Treasurer,
Chris King.
If I am your enemy, it's only because I dare to tell you the truth. Don't take no wooden nickels.